So the obvious place to start then is more a question for you than for me. This was your first series as captain.
Yeah, it was my
How
first.
did that feel going into it? Was there any nerves? Was there anything you were worried about? What were you sort of thinking as we came into the series?
No, there wasn't. There was nerves because I mean, I've captained a few Sunday teams as well, and it is a lot to think about. You really underestimate how much there is to think about.
I actually think it'll be interesting to see, because you've captained obviously Sunday teams as well. I actually think the captaincy is harder in this, because I've captained club teams as well. I actually think it's harder in this form of cricket because of you can't just leave bowlers running.
No,
you've got to change. You've got to be constantly thinking about how you use your bowlers.
Yeah.
So it is a weird thing, isn't it? Whereas in cricket, you've got more time to think because you can put a bowler on at each end, and you've got a spell to think about what you're going to do next.
That's so true.
Yeah, I would say it's harder in this.
Yeah. No, that's so true actually. Just because how quick paced it is as well.
Yeah,
so
it really
fun.
shoots by as well.
Because like in normal cricket, you have like an over and everyone's switching around. So
Yeah,
you've got, like,
because there's no change of ends.
Yeah, exactly.
As well.
Yeah.
And each over, in cricket, an over might last 3-4 minutes.
Yes.
In ours, it's a minute and a half.
Yeah.
If someone like Dan Mears can get through an over in less than a minute.
Oh yeah.
And you've got to suddenly think about the next bowler, the next field setting, what you're going to change, what you're going to do. Is that something you was prepared for as we came into it, do you think? Or did that hit you by surprise when we started?
Do you know what? I'm not going to lie. I think it hit me by surprise because I thought, so going into it, I was just like, oh yeah, I've got my team and I was happy with my team, happy with my, with my bowling attack. And I just thought, yeah, I'll just like, not stick to the same bowling attack all the time.
Yeah,
obviously
but you've obviously got plans going into the series.
Exactly, yeah. But then when things aren't going too well for you, when you've got two batsmen and they're putting on a partnership, and then you're not really getting anything from the wickets or from the bowlers, is then you have to start thinking about what to do, changing things in the field.
Yeah, that is the hardest thing. Obviously, you've had it at times in this series. I've had it in the past when Dan was a captain playing against his teams. It gets very difficult if your strike bowlers aren't delivering it. You have like sort of 2 or 3 bowlers who are your main weapons, and you use the rest to set the game up for them.
Yeah.
If those bowlers aren't taking wickets, suddenly it becomes very difficult as a captain. Yeah. Especially if you're only playing, if you've got limited numbers and you've only got 3 or 4 fielders. There's not a lot you can do.
No.
You know, if you've got 10 players in the field, you can work some creative fields and things. But if you've only got 3 or 4 fielders, you're so limited on your options. You rely on the bowlers to hit the stumps, really.
No, yeah, 100%.
And if you've got a batsman with a good defence, it's
tough. Then it's tricky because you've got the ball that's moving about, and if a batsman just solid defence, no run, it's like, what can you do?
Yeah. And the other thing I was going to ask you as well, and this is going to be an interesting one.
Go on.
The selection.
Oh, yeah.
Now, for those who don't know watching the channel, the way we do selection is that we flip a coin to see who gets first pick, and then we take it in turns. So I pick, you pick, I pick, you pick, until all the players are gone. Now, we had squads of 15 each in that series, 30 players overall. Looking back on it now, I'm sure you were happy with your squad at the time. Looking back on it now with the benefit of hindsight for the way the series went, are you now happy with the squad that you picked?
Look, there are.
I've barbecued you after 2 minutes.
I hate you for this. No, like. No. Of course, there were some. I had some really, good players in my squad, and I was really happy with some of the players in there. 100%. Did I make the right choices at times? Probably not. I mean,
in fairness, the one thing I would say in your defence, and I guess it's something we'll come on to as we're going through the series, you could not have foreseen, either of us, but especially for your team, the chaos with selection.
Yeah.
It was such a poor series for availability. Some of your key players, you never even got 1 test out of them, let alone the whole series.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of people like, you never got a game out of Alvin Safia. I think you got 1 game out of Charan Chintakunta, who was someone you were really excited to have in the team.
Yeah, and he's some, like, I'm not trying to, obviously people have busy lives, but he was obviously initially available for all tests. So then you pick your team, about based on the player and their ability, and also.
And yeah, that's the thing. I mean, it was the same for my team as well. We had selection issues, but probably not for the extreme that you had. And just you have a team in your head. Yeah. This is how my team is going to look. This is how it all fits together. And then it comes to the day, and 2 of those players are available. Yeah, and it is really difficult.
I mean, it makes your life as a captain even more of a nightmare.
It is, because and then that was a key thing of this series. There was a lot of ringers used in this series. I ran the numbers. We had obviously squads of 15 each, so 30 players for this series. Only 14 of them actually played a test. Between the 30 that we had selected, more than half never got onto the field. And not for lack of trying. It's not like we didn't pick them or didn't want them there. They just weren't available. And I think that someone from my team, obviously someone like Ewan McGregor, we never got onto the field. Bevan West never made an appearance. Elliot Fox.
These are key.
These are not sort of bits and pieces players who add on. These are key players. We never saw Callum Letts, who I think was on your team. Was he in the series on my team?
I think he was on my team.
Was he on yours?
I think he was on your team.
Yeah, but we never saw him. I think you got 1 test out of Makhtar Saeed. You never saw Nav Saeed in the series. Sam Dennis, I think you got 1 game out of. Gurpal Singh, I think you got 1 game. It was a tough one for selection, and I think one of the key things in the series, I guess we'll see as we go along, I think I got lucky in this series in the sense that the ringers I had probably adapted better than some of the ringers you had. When you never know what you're going to get. Because someone who's never played before that we've never met comes down to help, and obviously huge thanks to them for doing it.
100%.
And it was just the way that it went that I think some of mine, particularly in the first game that we're going to watch, they all did really well. And that maybe wasn't always the case for some of the ringers you had in the series. So it was a tough one.
It was tough. I mean, someone like Makhtar as well though. He came in. He hadn't played indoor backyard cricket with us before. He came in, and the 1 test that he did play, he played really well.
Looked
I think he would have been a really.
He would have got better as that series gone on as well. And I thought he went for a few runs because leg spinners are good. But once you adapt to it, he was ragging it, wasn't he? For a first game, he was ragging a few of them. And he didn't get a huge score in about. I think he got maybe a couple of 20s and looked okay.
But that's the thing. He actually looked alright though.
But just given that this was a really low scoring series, a 20, it's very useful.
It is.
If you've got players around it. So coming into this series, then we're going to watch the first game in a minute. If you had to it's hard to say in hindsight. If you had to put a percentage on it, how confident were you of winning the series coming into this first game?
So going back to what you said about availability, right? I think if it was your full, because even you had nightmares with availability. So if you had your full strength squad, and I had my full strength squad,
what a series we could have had.
We would have had a great.
So many good players.
I would definitely say it'd go to the last. It'd go to decide.
I would agree with that, unless one player or one team just had a brilliant game and got 2-0 up. But definitely we would have had a hell of a series with some of the standard of players we had that never made it onto the pitch. Another one I've just remembered, James Ramsey.
Oh yes.
James Ramsey was in my I think my team. What a player to have, and we never got a game. Such a shame.
It is a shame.
But we'll watch this first test then. So this game was at Nutfield, and just to recap for those who don't know, for this game, this series was supposed to be 8 aside. And given the selection issues we mentioned, for this first game you only had 7. I only had 6, of which only 2 were from my original 15-man squad, which was me and Ricky Borrett. And we had 4 ringers. I think you had 5 available and 2 ringers, I think, for this game. So, and obviously at Nutfield, I have to say, over the last 3 years doing this series, I've come to regard Nutfield, I think, as the best place for these games because it gives you a bit of everything. We've seen spin there, like we said with Makhtar and Ramsey last year. It's good to bat on if you get in. It swings, there's good bounce, and it's a decent size as well. I'd say this is the best venue we have.
I think so.
For me.
Yeah, I actually agree. I really enjoy it there. I think, like you said, the ball. There is something.
It's the one venue where it's not. It's the one venue we play at that's not heavily weighted either in favour of bowlers or batters. So if you think last year, when we went to Hampshire, it was just a road. Alvin with his double 100, that ball didn't swing the whole day. It's nothing. And then you go to somewhere like Woldingham, where it's hard to even get 20.
Yes.
It's just hooping around corners. Every game is 100 all out.
And like skidding off the surface.
This one, I think you get the best leveler. This gives a bit. You can get runs there, and you can get wickets there.
Yeah.
And we've always had good games here.
Yeah.
So, are you ready to watch it back and relive the memories?
I'm ready.
All right, let's get going. This is the Nutfield test, the first test. So here we go. This is the start of the series. Jake to me. 4 runs.
4 runs. A little inside edge.
I think this is you bowling, yeah. Should we bring this a little closer, do you think?
Yeah.
The ball spikes more on it.
Oh, here's Mata.
Here's Mata. Yeah, this guy, this is what we were saying about with the ringers, Javed. He did really well this day.
He did.
He never looked, I felt, obviously brilliant of him to come down at short notice.
Yeah.
He never looked to me like he was gonna survive as long as he did, but you just couldn't get him out.
No, yeah.
Oh, that's a good hit.
That is a good hit.
I did play well this day, I've got to admit. I was in good nick.
And then you got Sam going off his weird run-up.
Sam's run-up.
It's quite innovative.
Sam's run-up, I thought, was one of the highlights of the series. It's weirdly... Have you faced him on the run-up?
I haven't, no.
It's weirdly difficult because it kind of messes with your trigger movement.
Yeah, because he's coming from
I found you get set too late.
Yeah.
Because you think you've got more time as he bends round and then suddenly he's on you.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good hit.
That's a good hit, nice shot.
Oh,
yeah.
Who was that off of? Nav. What did you find on this morning? Because me and Javed ended up putting on an opening stand of about, I think it was about 140.
Yeah, it was...
The worst real start you could have had as a captain in this, really.
Yeah.
And this kind of defined this game, I think. If you take this partnership out of it, it's a very close game.
It is, yeah. And I think I said in the post-match interview as well, I feel like this, did he drop the catch?
I think it went just over. I'm trying to remember that
one.
It
was a 4. He's given it as a 4. But no, yeah. I said it in the post-match. This was
that's a donkey drop into there.
Don't really expect too many of those from Sam. But no, I said it in the post-match interview that your partnership with Javed, it killed us.
What do you think
It killed us.
went wrong for you? Why did you struggle to get us both out? Like I said, I think it got to about 130 in the end, and obviously I felt good that day.
Yeah.
But Javed as well looked solid enough.
I just think if you look at the way we're bowling, I don't think we're attacking the stumps as much as we could be. It's quite short and wide. I mean, that's a great night.
I remember this. The one thing I would say about this game, I felt really that's unbelievable.
Oh yeah, Jake is.
The one thing I remember from this game, I remember feeling good right from the start, and I felt all the bowlers I was in charge of, apart from Jake. I couldn't get bat on him this whole innings. I thought he bowled really well in this game.
He did. Oh God.
Who's that? Is that you?
That was me.
Slow ball down the toilet.
Slow back down, slow ball. Yes, he looked short, wide.
Actually, yeah, the other thing I remember about this, we scored a lot of runs through the covers.
That's another short. Oh.
I think that was an inside edge.
Oh, okay.
This is Mata. Mata really got well here at him, actually. I think this is where he works him out. He started figuring out that if you just go slightly outside a leg stump and pull it across him,
yeah.
and then he zipped one in through straight. It was good bowling, actually.
Set him up.
And this was another wicket straight away afterwards. The
great
catch.
catch.
Yeah, it was a sharp catch, that.
Yeah.
Gurple bowled well this day as well. He's not a front-line bowler, Gerps, but he has his moments, doesn't he?
He does.
He has his moments. Every now and again, once in a series, he'll take a 3-4.
Yeah.
And just look really, he varies his pace a lot.
Yeah.
It's what makes him hard to face. He's not the quickest, and he doesn't swing it that much.
Oh. Yeah, 100% no. So.
And this is, this is obviously the century moment.
So imagine this. Imagine this. Oh, well batted. Yeah, I remember.
This is the moment we all thought I was on 96 here.
Yeah, yeah. And then,
I was so disappointed. When we saw afterwards that I got the 100, it was like a knot undoing in your stomach. We were all so sure that was 96 and over the fence.
Yeah. But even your mate Ricky though, he was gutted for you, and that's always quite nice.
Yeah, it says a lot when Ricky's gutted for someone else.
That's quite nice.
He was another one, Ricky.
Wow. Smashing.
He didn't get the runs he normally does in this series, Rick. I felt you lot bowled this was a good dismissal. It looks a bit ugly, that. But I remember the balls before that, you'd set him up for that, bowling at his body, and then he jabbed at one outside.
Yeah, because I know, back of a length, bowling to his body. It's bowling to anyone. It's quite difficult to then get that hook shot. And if you go for the hook shot, you have to then try and control it and keep it down. So it is, trying to get them out over the fence. It is a dismissal.
So 213. What were you thinking then? Because that's a good fight back from an opening partnership of around 140. Yeah. 213 all out is a decent fight back.
Yeah, and we came back and we were actually thinking the same thing. Like we were like, like they've had obviously you guys had a good start, but we clawed it back well. So because of that, we felt pretty confident going in. And
it is, you got a good opening. But if I remember, I think these two, it was you obviously and Matar. I think you did put on a few, didn't you? Was it about 70? I remember struggling. I remember always feeling like we could get Matar out because we worked out really early that short leg was in the game for him.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good ball.
That's a great ball.
But you see, we had the short leg in for Matar this is you, but every over we had it in. We felt he was a candidate.
Yeah.
And I think we did get him there in the end.
I thought you had the short leg in for me as well.
We did have it in for you at times, but the difference is with you, it's more of a.
And that's the dismissal. That's what.
So the difference between you and him, we had short legs in for both of you, but for different reasons. For him, it was a wicket-taking option. Because we always felt he would do exactly what he did and pop one up.
Yeah.
But for you, it's more getting someone in your eye line because you're so good through the leg side. It was just to try and get you second-guessing about playing through the leg side. So more it's a run saver, just to put someone in your eye line. Whereas for him, it was an actual wicket threat, we thought. Yeah, this is Ricky. And Ricky loves going in at short leg, but he never catches a damn thing. Look, he's over. Oh, that's dreadful, that.
If that was off his bowling, he'd be fuming.
He would be fuming as well. He'd never let you forget it, would he? What do you think then? This is a player I'm interested to talk to you about, Sam Dennis.
Yeah.
We've played with him in club cricket.
Yeah.
Outstanding player.
Great.
Unbelievably talented in club cricket. Never scored a run really in backyard cricket. Never really adapted to it. Why did we think that could be?
I don't know. Impatience? It can't be. It's not really impatience, though, is it?
Yeah, because he's got the technique.
Yeah, he's got the.
And he's not afraid of fast bowling. He's faced plenty of fast bowlers in club cricket and smashed them around everywhere.
Yeah.
Is it the fact that the ball moves a lot more? He obviously plays at Addiscombe where the pitch is flat. Maybe doesn't move so much, but he's.
And club cricket in general, because of the quality of the balls, they don't really swing much in the air. Anyway. That's what I felt like. I've played cricket on a Saturday, Sunday, and I've never really seen the ball swing that too much.
Yeah, so obviously it seems obvious to say, but a cricket ball is not going to move as far as a taped up tennis ball.
No, 100%.
But then it is curious when you see people like myself getting runs, and I'm not nearly as good as Sam.
Yeah.
So it is odd because you think I get the feeling with Sam, he needs one score. If he gets one sort of 40 or 50, that would just switch him and you'll never get him out again.
Oh, 100%.
If he gets one score, what you'd want, if he's in your team as a captain, you'd want him to get 30 or 40 in the first game of a series.
Yeah.
Because then he'll just go on and get 70, 80s in every game, wouldn't he? He just needs that one score first.
Yeah, it's one of those.
He bowled well as well. This is one of the ringers, Parag.
He did bowl.
He did. He was.
Cheeky,
I have to say as well. Now that the series is over, we can say this.
All of the ringers.
They all contributed
pretty well.
And the one thing I would say about him, probably shouldn't say this to be fair, but he was the one ringer we had in this game who didn't chuck it. We had Javid bowling spin and he was hooping it, but he was chucking it.
Yeah, I felt like I was quite generous as a captain, letting you off with a...
Well, to be fair, I think we did say, didn't we, if it had been regular players, we could have called them for it.
Yeah.
But players who come down at the last minute...
So people like Ricky then,
we should start calling Ricky. And I remember this is the only part of this game where I was worried about whether we'd win or not, was the early stages of this innings, because you were all over us. I remember Sam and Jake and Gerbs. And I think we were about 30 for 3 and only leading by about 60. And then it was up in the air. We might only have a lead of about 80 here and we can get beat. And in the end...
And Sam bowled really well in this match.
Yeah, he did, especially in this innings. I think he gets another wicket soon here.
Oh, there you go. Almost,
yeah. I think this might be it here. I think he knocks him over. Yeah, that's a good nut. He was causing carnage with that run up. 30 for 3 here, not leading by many. This was the only part of the game I was worried.
Yeah.
But the thing is with Ricky didn't have a great series with the bat. but he does make key contributions, and he got 30 odd here.
Yeah.
Which is worth like 80 in another game. This was a massive moment in the game.
Yeah.
And then this is the other ringer, Danesh. He also gets 30 odd.
Oh, yeah.
Which, it was just so important. This, I think, was the killer for the game. I mean, what were you thinking during this innings? Did you always feel in the game, or did this partnership, even when this partnership was developing, did you still think you was in it?
No, I did, 100%. I mean, with the early wickets that we got, I thought we were still in the game, even during this partnership. Every time Ricky comes out to bat, though, you have to get him. So I felt in the game.
He's so consistent, not just how good he is. He gets 50 almost. I mean, he didn't actually get a 50 in the whole series, which is surprising, isn't it? But before that, he gets a 50 almost every game, doesn't he? He figured this out probably quicker than any batsman when we first started doing it.
Yes, he did.
He just adapted to it. His game is really well suited to it. He plays it late anyway.
Yeah. And
this is more of a front foot game, more of a game of wrists.
Yeah.
And that's his game anyway.
That is his game, yeah.
He's gonna be, that's a lovely shot. I love that shot. That little round.
Yeah.
Slips.
That's a good shot.
That's class, that.
I think that annoyed me slightly.
Oh, that's off you?
Yeah.
Yeah, what is it with your bowling? Because you're consistently one of the best bowlers, and yet another one kind of like Dan Mears as well, bowled really, really well, but never end up. You look at the wickets at the end of the season, and it's always a lot less than you think.
Yeah.
I think you only got about 5 wickets in this series, but you deserve a lot more.
You just put it in, just too good, mate. The ball was just too good. Unplayable.
So we're not good enough to nick it. Is that the problem?
Yeah, that's what it is. No, I'm joking. No, it's. I feel maybe people. Like against Key.
Oh, this is the drop. Yeah, this was a big moment. That's off you as well, isn't it?
And I knew we had to get him out. And like, I'm sitting there, I was like,
see, this is where you've got to take care of all the little details. If you know you desperately need a wicket, don't give Jake the gloves. He couldn't catch COVID, Jake. Don't give him the gloves.
That was an absolute dog.
Oh, yeah, that was a bad one. That was a big moment in this game. I think that was. I mean, you might see it differently from on the field, but for me, I felt that was the moment where we had the game in the bag then. If you'd taken that wicket, that's still anybody's game. Yeah. But I think they went on to get another 30 odd after that.
No, I agree. I look on Nelson. But
and then this must have been annoying for you. You've got that wicket and we were down to, I think Ricky gets out in a minute, last man standing. And then you've got the last man standing come out, just pop in, I think it was the first 3 balls for 4.
Yeah.
The last man standing I've found, you really want to get that over with quickly, because that can, for some reason, if someone gets runs as a last man standing, I find it more annoying than if they've got a partner at the other end.
Yeah,
it's just infuriating, even if it's a proper batsman.
Yeah,
it still feels like you're at the end of the innings.
True,
It's just so infuriating.
It's like when you're bowling at a tail ender in club cricket. You know, when you're bowling out and you need one more wicket to win.
So when a number 10 comes in and gets 30 and drives you up the wall.
So annoying. But obviously you're not a tail ender at all. But and
obviously I was still seeing it well from the first innings, but this was a good test for me actually. This one.
Weren't you the leader run scorer in the test?
Well, in the series. Yeah, in the end, obviously, mostly thanks to this game. Obviously, if you score 150...
Oh, was that another drop?
Yeah, GURPS behind the stance. I would absolutely not have walked if he caught it, though.
What, just because it's Jakey, or...?
And because I'm selfish, basically it. But that won't make the edit, we won't put that in. And this was right at the end, This is obviously, I'm thinking about the declarations coming any second here, really.
Shot.
This was nice actually, because I didn't know I was on 46. I thought I was on about 30. So if I'd declared one ball earlier, I would have stuck myself high and dry on 46.
No, going back to what you were saying about bowling, I feel like people like Ricky, I feel like key bowlers, maybe batsmen, are just a little bit more switched on than they would be compared to other bowlers.
And I think with the bowlers, I do think some of the bowlers, Dan Mears is one for this. Dan is a fantastic bowler. No question about that. But I do think he takes it for granted a little bit that you'll get wickets just because this ball swings all over the place. I do think the bowlers can be a bit lazier than the batsmen in this. Because the ball is going to hoop anyway. So you can kind of get away with more. So I wonder if that's what it is, maybe. But yeah, as a batsman, you switch off for one ball, you're going.
You're going.
Like, if that ball's straight, you've finished. 13-yard pitch as well.
Yeah.
Especially if you're facing someone like Alvin or Rob. You've got about a tenth of a second.
Yeah.
When that ball's coming at you. Like,
it's tough out there.
this is the drop. Yeah, he has about 8 goes at this. Oh man, how are you feeling with this? Because I think you were still waiting to come in, weren't you? You came in as last man standing.
Yeah.
Were you watching the game at this point? Did you see that drop?
Yeah, it was just hilarious. Yeah, I mean, you can't do anything but laugh at that.
But then he finishes this game by taking a screamer.
Yeah, off of me as well. Like,
that's bad.
I mean, you see him drop that, and then you see him take
the
one hand.
one.
Oh my goodness.
And we will see that catch soon. It was a blinder, wasn't it? I guess we'll talk more about your innings when you come in, because you were fantastic this day. But for now, I mean, the target, I can't remember what the target was. It was about 230.
Yeah.
My personal feeling is that we set you way too many. You were never going to get that. Did you feel in with it? Because your team, the one thing I was really surprised by is that your team never played with any sense of a draw.
No.
You obviously told your batsmen to go after this time.
Oh, 100%. I mean,
that took us by surprise in the field, because Matar and I think was it Sam opening came out and just reeled off boundaries.
Yeah.
And it kind of took us aback, because I thought we had 30 overs of trying to get a blocker-thon out.
Yeah.
And then you stop bang, bang, bang. Which I think is a great attitude.
Yeah.
To take to it. Yeah. The right thing to do. But obviously it comes with the risk of what happened. You end up getting barreled over quite cheaply in the end. But
that's the thing. It was one of those things where I was like, you know what, go out there, have a go. Let's see where we are. Maybe in the last 40 minutes, 40 minutes to an hour. Let's see where we are.
And you had the runs. It was just the wickets. With like the last 20 minutes or so, you were well ahead of the rate you needed to score at. Well ahead. And if you'd had a few more wickets in hand, you'd have got the runs easily.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, look at the. I mean, look, it's not really. You know, obviously we're playing indoors. It's not a huge pitch, so you know, like boundaries can.
So you're in here. You need about 180 to win. Yeah. You're in here, last man standing. I can't remember how long was left. It was about 40 minutes when you came in, I think.
Yeah, I believe so, yeah.
I would think in your situation, the draw would be the priority, but have a go at the runs if you can. But the way you played was almost like, you played in a way, the aura it gave off as a fielding captain, it felt to me like you were absolutely certain you were going to win this game all the way through. It was just a matter of doing it.
Yeah.
You never looked like you had any doubt about the way you were going to play, any doubt about whether you'd get the runs or not, any doubts about should I play for the draw, should I play for the win. You went out there and almost treated it as an entitlement. Yes, I'm going to win this game and you're all going to watch me do it.
Yeah.
Were you feeling that confident, or was that kind of just like a facade for us kind of thing? Was that?
I'll tell you what.
Because you played really well.
No, thank you. No, when I was out there.
That's a good shot. I like that shot. Clever shot.
When I was out there, I was feeling nervous.
Really? You didn't look it at all.
But do you know what it is? It's if I go out there to bat I start thinking negative.
We have to talk about this, I think, don't we? That is a screamer. That.
I mean, up through my bat.
Yeah, that's rare for you. You're not someone who generally, you know, you do get certain players when they get out who maybe throw bats around and shout a bit. That's not really you.
No.
So obviously you clearly cared a lot about this innings. You invested a lot into this innings.
Yeah.
I mean, did that, how confident until this moment, how confident were you? Because by this point you only need about 100 more.
Yeah.
Obviously it's still a lot.
Yeah.
But
no, do you know what?
So well.
Like I said, I was nervous, but it's one of those where I can't go out to bat with a negative mindset. I feel like if I was to go out and say, "Oh, I need to survive. I need to like block out the balls, just get to the end, bat out for the draw," I reckon I would have got out.
Yeah. So almost that attitude. That is the best form. Attack is the best form of defence. Kind of thing.
Yeah.
It will help you survive on the front foot.
I mean, don't get me wrong. There were so many times I was thinking, oh, like there were times I was thinking, I can't get out. But I was like, no, I can't be thinking like that. I have to try and, stay positive.
It is really interesting, because I found this with some of my innings over the years in backyard cricket. When in the middle, you feel really nervous and you don't feel like you're playing a good innings and you feel like it's all scrappy. Then you watch it back on the video and it looks so calm. It looks so assured and dominant. And you think, oh, that guy's good.
Yeah.
And when you're actually out there, it doesn't feel like that.
No, it doesn't.
It really feels like you never feel 100% truly in.
No.
Even when I was 100 in the first innings, you've always got to be wary because that ball's never going to stop swinging.
No.
So you never feel 100%. I think that's why we've never really seen many innings over the years of people tearing teams apart.
Yeah.
We've never seen like an 80 off 30 balls.
No.
You just can't do it.
Yeah. Because like you said, you switch off for one ball. It takes one ball. And you're out. And like not many people did it here in this test, but someone like Yunan, he hides the ball. And so you've got someone running up. You can see where the ball's taped up, so you have an idea of where it's going to swing. So you can sort of prepare for that.
Yeah, and he is probably the best at that.
He is, and it's so hard to hide the ball to the very last moment before you like roll your arm over. And he's so good at hiding the ball, and it's just a guessing game. And then your reactions have gone shortened down.
Because that's the thing, you need to see the ball, because that gives you a fraction of a second back.
Yeah.
Because you can't just play a 13-yard ball in the time you've got. You have to have a plan before they let go of it. Yeah. And if you can't see the swing, you are guessing.
Yeah, literally.
And it is frustrating. Do you know what I hate about Yunan? If you're watching this, Yunan, I picked him for the Test series, and he's always one of my first picks because I think he's one of the most underrated players I've ever played with. I think he's brilliant, Yunan. Yeah. I think in his own way, he's not as quick or as maybe as dramatic, but in his own way, he's as good as Rob or Alvin.
He's a smart bowler.
Because exactly, he's a clever bowler and he's accurate. And I picked him for the Test series, didn't get a single game out of him. You picked him for the one-dayers, and he played in every single goddamn one, didn't he?
I was honestly
fuming when he turned up for the one-dayers.
Honestly, you can't even tell me. But I was having nightmares the night before. I was like, please, Yunan, don't play. I was like, please, don't play. Honestly.
Oh, yeah, because I suppose he's got a good record against you, isn't he? Yeah, he does get you. Yeah,
he's got me out a couple
you
of times.
never get out on the offside. Yeah. But he gets you on the offside almost every time he bowls it. Nobody else does that. Yeah. Why? Is that because he hides the ball, or do you think there's another reason why it's only him that gets you nicking off? You never nick off to anybody else.
He gets into my head. Like honestly, like because he doesn't even just hide the ball. He properly turns his body around.
He starts like almost like the Mornay Morphle one that he used to do.
He turns around and he like fiddles with the ball, turns back around, and in my head I'm thinking, which way? Well, where is this going? Where's this going? Where's this going? And I'm like trying to look at the hand, And then at one point, I couldn't even do it. I was like, do you know what? He's bowled a couple of in-swingers and out-swingers going to come and out.
Yeah.
So then I'm thinking, trying to like guess what he's going to do.
And that's the thing with you. The problem with Yunan, the reason Yunan I think is so good is that while you're guessing, he's already thinking 3 balls ahead.
Yeah.
Because he's a really clever bowler. This is why I think he's as good as anybody else. You're thinking, is this an in-swinger, out-swinger? He's already thinking in 3 balls time how he's going to get you out and how he needs to set it up. He's ahead of you.
Yeah.
And he's not the quickest. He doesn't swing it as much as Jake. He's not as quick as Rob or Alvin or anything like that. But in his own way, he's as good as any of them.
100%.
Really, really good player.
Going back to selection, and actually no, going back to captaincy.
Yeah.
You've captained a lot now.
3 years now.
3 years.
Yeah, since we started.
Yeah. So obviously you've had a lot of backyard cricket experience as a captain. How are you going? How are you feeling going into this series?
Confident, because I was really happy with my team.
Yeah.
If you look at the squads we had, and like you say, if we'd had fully matched squads, it might have been a really close series. But the thing is, you take a risk with certain players like Alvin, Bevan, Yunan. You don't know if you're going to get them. But I had Ricky Borrett, Rob Maguire, Dan Mears, who you know are going to play nearly every game. They might miss one, but they're going to play all.
I mean, they're all right.
And that's a core team.
They're all right.
And I think also coming off the back of going into this series, coming off the back of 2 series wins, having not lost a game, and after 2 years, I felt like I'd got the hang of it.
Yeah.
So that gives me a big advantage over you. It doesn't matter what teams we pick, I've still got a 2-year head start on you.
And you've experienced winning, like you know how to win as a captain.
And the thing is, when you do it, and this is something you'll be better at next year now that you've had a year doing it as well. When the pressure moments, I found in the first series we did, if my team was under pressure with the batter in the field, it was quite hard keeping up with the pace of the game.
Right.
But the more you do it, you start to keep the pace with the game happening around you and start to be able to think ahead. I think you'll find that next year.
Yeah.
That now that you've had 1 series to get used to it, the game won't feel like it's getting away from you as much.
I did feel the pressure.
I feel a lot calmer in the pressure moments now because just from experience, and that's the only way you can do it. You know, you can't get that naturally.
Yeah.
You've just got to do it.
So
I was quite confident going into this, but
I'll have you next year.
You reckon?
Maybe.
No, we'll see. I'm going to stay unbeaten forever.
Oh man, yeah. I need to get rid of that record. I'm determined. I need to get rid of that. I want to be the person to get rid of that record.
We'll see.
We'll see.
We'll see how sad. I could be bribed. I could be bribed.
Okay.
I call it 100 quid. Oh, you know, I'll mess with the team a little bit.
Yeah, let's talk when the cameras are off.
No, but it is fun. I do really enjoy captaining in this. That's what I have to say. At the bottom line of it all, these games, we're not in a league. This is between ourselves. It's supposed to be fun.
Yeah.
And I do find the captaincy really enjoyable in this. Did you find that as well? Did you manage to find the time? Because it's, like I say, when you first start doing it, for me in the first year, for you this year, it is really quick and it does get away from you and you feel the pressure.
Yeah.
Did you find time to enjoy it around that, or was it just stress all the way through? Did you find the time to take a deep breath and go, this is quite fun?
Yeah. I did find it quite stressful. I mean, looking back at it, and you know, I enjoy it. Like I really do enjoy it. You know, and I'm sure there's nothing better than like getting a win and knowing that you led the side to a win.
It is satisfying because what we said earlier about, I think this is harder than normal captaincy because of the way you have to rotate the bowlers, because of the size of the boundaries, the lack of fielders, and all the different things that go with it.
Yeah.
When you do get a win, I might not maybe have scored any runs or taken any wickets, but you still feel like you've contributed to the game.
Yeah.
Because, you know, you can have good players in your team, but you can fit, if you've got a team that you see, you have a plan in your head, what does an Alex Smith team look like? What does a Yosuaf Sharif team look like?
Yeah.
When you see it come out the way you want to, and you see the batsmen batting as a unit, setting the game up for each other, working well in partnerships, you see your stop bowlers setting up the wickets for your strike bowlers, the fielders joining in. It is a good feeling when you see it all really come together as one.
Yeah.
Which I think we'll see in the second test, because I thought, well, it's maybe not so much. The second test I thought was, we were more scrappy in the second one, which we'll watch in a moment.
It's like Chelsea, isn't it? It's like you got all the good players, but you need someone.
You need to put them together.
You need to put them together.
You can't just put. It's why PSG never win the Champions League. You can't just put good players onto the pitch and expect it to work.
Yeah.
And that's one thing you'll get used to over the years. You get absolutely no credit as a captain. If you win a game, it's because all your players are good. You get no credit for anything. You knit it all together and you work it all out, and you spend time trying to work out how you're going to set wickets up for your bowlers and all this. Then they get the wickets and they say, it's all because of me, guys. Just because I'm a great bowler, you didn't do anything. You get no credit for nothing.
Oh, that's great.
So that's the end of the first test, 1-0 in the series. So we'll take a quick break and then we'll come back and we'll look through the second game at Horsham.
Awesome.
So we're coming into the second test in Horsham here, obviously 1-0 down in the series for you, and this was the test for you where selection was bad, wasn't it? You were missing some serious players. You were missing Jake Butler, I think Sam Dennis, Gurpal Singh, Matar, Alvin, James Crowther, we haven't spoken about yet. I think, who else? Nav Saeed.
Yeah.
There was loads you were missing here, whereas I had Rob, Dan and Ricky.
Imagine
which is such a good core of a team, isn't it? And this I actually thought was a really enjoyable game. I didn't think this was the highest quality game, but I thought it was really enjoyable. I thought it was a seesawing game of cricket. Like when we looked at the first test, I felt confident right from the moment we had the 100 opening partnership. I felt confident we were in control of that game all the way through.
Yeah.
In this one, not so much. This one went up and down all over the place, didn't it?
It did, and to my surprise as well, because
I got to admit, again, without wanting to sound rude, when you look at the teams that were available, I thought we would steamroller you in this game.
Come on, man.
Well, just because. I know, but not in the sense that because we had Dan Mears, Rob Maguire, Ricky Borrett. They're three good bowlers, and I thought with you missing so many batsmen, I thought we would muller you in this game.
I mean, I remember you
were so good. I fought so hard.
No, I remember you talking to me in between innings. You're like, "Oh yeah, when we, are you sure you want us to go like a little bit easier?"
Well, that's my game, isn't it? That's part of the captaincy. That is up there.
I don't know. You seem pretty genuine. You were like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna absolutely muddy you."
This guy I liked a lot, and he's a friend of yours, isn't he? Jithin Kolar. You were the one who brought him in.
Gunplayer.
He didn't actually get many runs or wickets, but I thought he looked a player.
Yeah.
He looked. I was quite impressed with him. He's another one. I think if he plays more games, if we can maybe get him in for next year's series, he looked good.
Yeah, I tried to get him in for a few of the other games as well, but he's got a knee injury at the moment.
Oh, is that why?
Yeah.
Okay. He made quite a good impression, I think.
Yeah. No, he's a really good player. And it's like anyone, like, you know, someone getting used to, especially a swinging ball, backyard cricket. No one's going to do well in their first game.
Not many have done well in their first game.
this?
This is my favourite moment of the whole series. This is when we took the wicket and we had to wait about 20 minutes for James Maguire to turn up. He was hungover as hell. He'd had about 2 hours sleep. He'd come straight from his night out and we were waiting on him and he went straight out to the middle and got a 2-ball duck. Knocked over by his brother to the first
great,
ball.
isn't it?
That was my favourite moment of the whole series. He was fuming, wasn't he? I like Jimmy a lot. He's a good guy, but he does not like getting out to Rob, does he?
No.
He does not like it at all.
No.
It was terrific. And I'll tell you what, this is worth asking about actually. On a serious point, again, I did a bit of research with this. In the 2 test matches that you played, the first one that we already watched and this one, you scored almost, and this is so high it's almost going to sound unbelievable, you scored almost 40% of your team's runs in the 2 games that you played.
40%?
Now this is something Jake Butler spoke about in the commentary when he was on, because Jake Butler was on commentary for this game and saying, if your team had just had one more batsman available, this series could have turned out a lot different. If you put one more batsman, a Crowther or an Alvin.
Oh, Crowther, yeah, it would be.
Because these games were quite close as it was anyway, but you were almost fighting a lone battle.
Yeah.
Especially in this game. In this game especially, you got more than half the runs for your team in both innings.
Yeah.
Did it feel like that? Did you feel like it was a you or bust during these games, especially this one?
This one I did, in the sense that, obviously because like I'm last man standing now, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, it's pretty much all on me to try and get as many runs as I possibly
Yeah, obviously
can.
the last man standing goes without saying, but as a general rule in this game, did you feel like you had to get the runs?
I did feel like, we're a bit short on batsmen.
Because it was really, in this game especially, I think you got more than half the runs, and you got about 30% of the runs in the first game.
Yeah.
And I certainly felt as a captain that when you come to the crease, if we get you, that is unbelievable, that, isn't it?
Jesus Christ, how have I not nicked it? It's
It's too good, isn't it? He was unbelievable this day, Rob, wasn't he? Especially, I think we'll see the second innings later. He was absolutely on fire. And that's just unlucky. You're obviously trying to be aggressive and play around with Ricky a bit there.
Yeah.
But I think we said at the time, didn't we, would you get about 70 odd there, team total? It didn't look enough, but it ended up being quite close. And that's what we say, one more batsman. If you got bowled out for about 70 odd here, one more batsman and you get 90 or 100.
Yeah.
Very different game here, isn't it? There's one more batsman in your team could have made so much of a difference.
Yeah, I'm looking because we're a fielder light here as well, and it's like
I think we had one extra player in this game, didn't we?
Yeah, and it's I mean the team surprised me. I mean they did really well, you know, to keep you guys quiet in this innings especially.
You guys kept coming at us, and like we said earlier, I thought we would steamroll this game. But it never turned out that way because you lot, I thought, bowled and fielded better than us, particularly the fielding. I think my team kind of turned up with the same attitude as me, just thinking it would happen automatically.
Yeah.
And you guys were not willing to let us do that.
One thing I'd say, this wicket felt
This is a good dismissal.
It felt really
it didn't show it on there, but you bowled a couple of outswingers at him, dragged across and opened up a gate.
Yeah.
And this is a ripper as well. I remember this. I think we're going to see a replay of this as well, are we? This was a ripper. Oh, that's a good nut. See, we just said about Rob's one to you that you couldn't nick. You got one back at him, didn't you? It was a weird venue, this one, wasn't it? Because on the surface of it, if you look at it here, marble pitch, short boundaries, generous height limits, you would think this would be an absolute road.
Yeah.
But it actually was quite, I felt it came off quite slow. You couldn't hit through the line of this. It felt like you just couldn't quite trust the pitch.
Yeah, it was quite a slow pitch. You're right.
And I have to ask as well while we've got the chance. While we've got the chance here, I do have to ask, what did you make of Jake Butler on the commentary?
Oh mate, I loved it. Absolutely.
He
loved it.
was fantastic, wasn't he?
He was. Oh,
I thought he brought a great. Obviously, anyone who knows Jake knows he's got a great sense of humour anyway. But he really brought that energy to the videos as well. He really brought that levity to it. I thought he was fantastic. Jake.
He was really good. Oh, what would you do here, Jake? And then something happened. Oh yeah, I'll do exactly that. That's exactly what I'll do.
He's good value, isn't he, Jake? He's great to have around. That's one of the great things when he's in your team as a captain. He keeps the morale of the team, no matter what's going on in the game, and it's the same in club cricket.
Yeah.
No matter what, if you're getting battered or if you're winning, whatever, he keeps the morale of the team very high because he's got quite an infectious personality. He
does.
He's got a good sense of humour, Jake. I thought he was brilliant on the commentary.
Oh, I love Jakey.
I hope to have him back on again at some point. Is that something you'd be interested in? Get you on the comms for a game one day.
Yeah, why not? Why not? It'd be good. Yeah, it'd be interesting.
See if we can get a few voices on there.
It'd be quite cool to do.
I have to admit, off the top of my head, I can't actually remember what happens in this innings. Did we end up with a big lead, or was it quite?
No,
small?
I think this is the small lead that you guys had. We got you out.
I don't remember us ever feeling totally in charge of this game, so it can't have been a lead of like 50, 60. I think we must have had quite a small. What did you guys got 70?
Does Ricky get dropped here again? I think.
Oh, he gets dropped behind, doesn't he? Was that in this? Oh, was that in the second inning?
Oh, I don't know.
No, because we were chasing the runs in the set. I think it is this innings. He gets. I think
It's
was
off
that
my
you
ball-
bowling
off
as
my
well?
bowling
Yeah.
again, yeah.
Was it the keeper?
I believe so. Yeah.
Was it Kamesh? I think, wasn't it?
Yes, it was Kamesh. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you squared him up, and then the next ball he was that close to hitting it over the fence.
Yes.
wasn't he?
Yeah.
I remember feeling
that
sorry
one
for you
felt
guys because
so
that's.
good. That when it went like I squared him up nice, I was like, oh.
But he got 4 out of
He
it,
got
and then the
4
next
out.
ball you had him in all sorts of trouble again, and he got 6 out of it.
Oh my God.
You go for 10 runs without doing anything wrong. Cruel this game, isn't
It
it?
is. It's batsman's game.
That, by the way, that Rob Maguire dismissal, that's swung a long way, that one.
Who was it? That
Kamesh. Don't expect it from Kamesh, but he absolutely bent it. I think he does it again later on in this game as well. This is a player I was quite impressed by, Jeevan. He didn't really do too much with a bat in this series, but I thought he bowled well, and another who keeps the energy up in a game. He's an energetic guy, and obviously took that screamer of a catch.
Yeah.
But he's a player that I thought made a good impression, Jeevan. Just struggled with the bat a little bit, but that's natural in this form of the game. I think this might be it.
Oh. I mean, that's the second time I've got Ricky in it, and he's been dropped as well. And you don't want to drop a player like him. You just don't want it.
What is it about him? Is it the fact that, oh man, you've got to take them. Is it the fact that he's a good player and it intimidates maybe fielders or whatever, but he does seem to get dropped more than everybody else, doesn't he? And then he gets away with that. That's incredible. I think you can see us all laughing as well.
I'm surprised he went for the shot, to be fair. I'm surprised he
This
went
is the
for
ball
it.
after getting dropped and he's playing a shot like that, and that should have gone over the fence. It was that far.
Jammy kit.
I think, do you get him out or does Jimmy gets him out, I think, does he? Yeah.
Basketball.
Jimmy had a good game. Game. He had a good game with the bat in the second. Obviously, we saw the duck.
Yeah.
But he got runs in the second innings. I think in partnership with
probably
you.
seeing duck like 2 or 3 balls and he got that duck.
Yeah, I don't know. I felt bad for him. It was funny, wasn't it?
15, 20 minutes out, in you go, mate.
This was a good one. This is the LBW. I mean, that is as plumb as you'll get it. I think he has one against you later on. And it's the plumbest LB I've ever seen not given. There's one against you later.
Jip, I'll transfer that money to you later.
Oh, was it your mate umpiring?
Yeah, it was my mate umpiring. Honestly, like, I'm joking, but you know what? When that hit me on my leg, I was like, I was almost tempted to walk.
Yeah.
I was like, I am so out, and he didn't give it. I was like, oh my God, like I got away with him big time.
But he was, on a more serious note, how hard is it? Because Rob has always been on my team. I've always picked him in backyard cricket. I've never actually faced him in an indoor game. How difficult is it when he's on song? Because he is such a good bowler,
Do you know
isn't he?
what? He's so good, and the ball swings like you can see
That's
the
the
ball.
thing with him. It's not
You
the fact
see
that
the
he's
ball.
quick, and it's not the fact that he swings it. It's how late it happens. This ball,
It's
3/4 of the
so
way
late.
down, hasn't moved at all.
Yeah.
3/4 of the way down, that ball is gun barrel straight, and then it bang.
He's got me like
that.
snake hips, got me turning all
No, I've
over.
never actually faced him, but Do you feel like it's a matter of, like I say, I've never faced Rob. Is it just a case of survival, or do you actually feel like you can score off him?
It's difficult because obviously you want to be positive. You want to have positive intent, right? Because like I said earlier, in the first test.
That's a nice shot. He played quite well, Jaffrey, didn't he? For a Davidson, he played quite well in this innings.
He did. In the first innings, as I was saying, no, good ball. Yeah, as I was saying, in the first test, it was it's one of those where if I'm thinking negative thoughts or I'm thinking to just survive, I'm most likely going to get out. But with someone like Rob, it's so hard. It's so hard to be positive.
The only way I can compare it is I faced Alvin.
Yeah.
And Alvin, I don't think moves it as late as Rob.
No. Yeah.
But with Alvin, you do feel like he'll give you a 4-ball. You know he's likely to bowl 5 unbelievable balls at you, but the 6th ball you might be able to get a drive or a flick off your legs away.
It's the drop catch.
Is this Rob coming up to the stumps? Just as we're talking about him. I mean, this was bad. He came up to wind Ricky up about being a medium pacer. And you have to say, actually, I don't think this carries if he stands further back.
It
doesn't. You have, if you're going to come up that close. And it's not just the fact that he drops it. I think we get a replay in a sec. It's the belly flop, the slow motion 3-step belly flop that comes up here. Down you go. He's doing the worm on the floor. It was brilliant. Oh, fantastic, Rob. Good work. Ricky was not happy with him as well. Ricky was not happy.
He wasn't.
Oh, it's just the one that hits him on the head. This is brilliant. I think he was so hungover he just forgot he was holding a bang.
Bang it with his head.
Everyone creasing up. The umpire's gone. The slips have gone. This is wonderful. This. He just gets halfway and just gives up on it.
It's like I'm too late.
He had quite a game, didn't
he? Yeah, he did.
He got a golden duck to his brother. He got hit on the head, but he also bowled really well and got some runs in his innings as well. This was a really frustrating partnership, actually.
Yeah.
Because you guys, we thought we would get Jimmy out a lot quicker than we did. This was a really frustrating. That is my favourite shot of the series.
That did feel, yeah.
That is. Do you remember that shot? Can you remember hitting that?
Yeah, I do.
That is just class. Now that's the best shot.
I didn't actually realise how good it would look.
It's the best shot
at it on camera.
You hit that like an absolute dream, didn't you? That must have come right out of the sweet spot.
It felt good. It did feel good.
Jimmy opening his shoulders.
Every squirrel finds it. Every blind squirrel finds the odd nut.
This is the one. There we go. I mean,
do you know? Look, you even see me. I take a couple steps forwards. I was like, I know I'm a goner there.
You can see the reaction of our players. Everyone knows this is plum.
Yeah.
How?
I've taken a couple steps forward. I knew I was a goner. I was like,
that is the plumbest LB I've ever seen turned down. What was it though? Did you just not pick the swing? Did you think it was drifting down leg?
I thought it was drifting down leg.
What it was? Yeah. And he bowls, I think, a drop next ball. This is the over he gets you out, and he gets 2 wickets. This is an unbelievable over, this. Every ball. You've got the LB turned down, the drop catch, then that, 3 balls in a row.
Yeah.
And then I think he gets Jimmy out as well in a minute. He was unbelievable. He was in the end, when we say about how mismatched the teams were, it came down to Rob's bowling. He was the match winner. This spell was probably the match winning spell.
Yeah.
Because we were getting frustrated at this point. You and Jimmy were doing a good job. He just knocked it.
What did you get? 5?
4 in the end. But we only had 5 wickets to take.
Oh yeah.
And he got 4
of them. Yeah.
So what did you think here? 77 to win. I got to admit, my impression of this as a captain was that if we got to 20 for none, we would win the game. I thought it was all about the first 3 or 4 overs.
Yeah. And how we bowled really well in the second innings, and then with this innings, I just felt like we let it slip.
My impression was that your team just ran out of steam. You'd fought so hard to keep up, and you'd done so well.
I mean, look at that.
I just
think
well,
that got the wicket. Got the wicket though. So
that's you'd be gutted with that. For sure. A half tracker and you slapped it, you'd be fuming, wouldn't you? After that.
Oh, it would be.
That's a really bad shot.
That is a bad shot.
But he's on debut. So. But I got to admit, at this point, I'm feeling if you turn this into 20 for 3 or 30 for 3, it's anybody's game. If we turn this into 30 for 1, 40 for 1, we're going to win.
Yeah.
I mean, again, what we said, if you'd had another batsman and got an extra 30 runs here, 100 to win.
Yeah.
This gets dicey.
It does, yeah.
But I just felt you were always just, throughout this whole game, it was really close. But you were always just 20 runs behind, really.
Yeah.
Just always just 20 runs behind where you wanted to be the whole way through.
And just constantly chasing.
At which point are you still thinking this guy? So we're 40 odd for 1 here. Are you thinking the game is alive here still?
When we got the first wicket, I thought it was alive. And then I think once Rob and Rick put on about 10, 15, even because 10, 15, you've got 70 to win. That's
It's a big chunk.
It's a big chunk.
I mean, if you think of it, 20 is more than a quarter.
Yeah.
And that's
great commitment from Jit there. I mean,
yeah, to be fair, yeah. Imagine if he just hits that straight into his gloves and that sticks. I thought Rob played really well. The reason I put Rob up, I think this is something a couple of the players...
You've done it a few times.
Well, a couple of the players asked, I think Ricky asked me after this game, why did we open with Rob instead of myself?
Yeah.
The reason is because when Rob bats well, what he does better than anyone else, just because of the natural way he is and the way he bats, he just emits a sense of calm and it just spreads across the whole team.
Yeah.
Whereas if I'd gone into open, I might well have got the same amount of runs and might well have got 30, 40 not out, but I look a lot scrappier. And the bowlers always feel in the game bowling at me. If you send Rob in first and he gets a good start underway, it just relaxes the whole team. He's just got that kind of way about him, doesn't he?
Yeah,
it just settles everyone down, I've found, with Rob. So that's why I sent him in first.
When he's batting, when he's bowling, there's a drop. When
he's bowling, it's more action and more infuriating, more energy kind of thing. But as a batsman, he's like the complete opposite of what he is as a bowler. He's just chill. It's weird for a guy like Rob. He's very vocal in the field, very aggressive with his bowling. When he goes into bat, he barely says a word. He's not much flourish. It's quiet, keeps to himself. It's all very quiet.
Yeah.
He's like a completely different person.
In the zone.
But he did play well, and I think he enjoyed hitting his brother for the winning runs as well. And that was the end of that, 78 for 1. In the end, I think that makes it look a lot more one-sided than it actually was. When you see we won with only losing 1 wicket, it looks like we battered you, but we really didn't. It was just the fact that, like I say, I think your team ran out of steam, and by the time we were about 40 for 1, I think your lot had given up the ghost, really.
Yeah, it was tough. I mean, we did so well. Yeah, we did so well to fight back.
I think that was the best test of the series, personally. I thought that was the most enjoyable game to play in. Yeah. And ironically, probably the one that we played worst in. Yeah. But maybe that's what made it the best test, because that was probably the closest one. But I enjoyed that game.
That was good. Yeah, it was a good game. It was good. It was yeah, no, it was a good game. It's tough though, isn't it? Like, I think, yeah, like you said, being a player short. Maybe if that extra player was a batsman.
It is. We've had it in the past before. There's been games where I've had an extra man in the field or been a man down in the field. It really makes a huge difference. One less fielder is massive, because your fielders are essentially catchers and boundary blockers. Yeah. There's not really any singles. No. And if it goes 2 yards either side, it's going to be 4. Yeah. So you're there to block if it comes straight at you. Yeah. And not having that, you save yourself 20 runs if you've got the extra fielder, because only 4 or 5 balls might go to him. Yeah. But those 20 runs that he stops make a difference. Yeah. And I think, when you're a man down, it's so hard.
And it's that thing of like, you can't really set an attacking field.
You can't be creative.
Very defensive.
I think we played one of the one-day games where we had the bowler, the keeper, and 3 fielders. Yeah. In one of the one-day games, how do you set a field with 3? If you've got a batsman who's in, how can you be creative? All you can really do is say put everyone on the offside and bowl outside off, or put everyone straight and bowl Yorkers. But you can't maybe I'm going to have a short leg and a slip. Yeah. You've got one fielder in the rest of the
Especially for someone like Rick, who loves sticking all the fielders in the slips.
Yeah, this is the thing. It's hard captaining Rick when we're short of fielders, because it doesn't matter. We could only have one fielder and he'll want him in the slip. Yeah, he wants everybody in the slips.
Next up, half volley. Thank you very much.
He wants everyone in the slips, and then he bowls back of a leg with their ribs. All right. But it was a good game. 2-0 at this point. Yeah. So at this point, obviously the series is over. Did you know at this point, when did you know you weren't going to be able to feature in the third game? Was that planned before the series, or was that something that came up after you were already 2-0 down?
No, it was something planned before.
The reason I asked that is, if it had been 1-1 in the series, would it have changed anything? Would you have played? Or was it just a non-negotiable?
It was a non-negotiable.
Yeah, so it was pre-planned.
Yeah.
And I did want to ask you this. You left Jimmy Maguire in charge. Jimmy captained the third game.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, you know Jimmy outside of cricket. You guys go back a long way and you're close and all that.
Yeah.
Is that why you made him the captain? Did that contribute at all, the fact that you're mates? Or was it just purely a cricketing decision?
No, I think that played a part. The fact that
because I guess it's trust, innit? You want someone you trust in charge of the team.
Exactly, yeah.
I can't remember who your other options were. I think Sam Dennis played in that game for you. I think Gurpal Singh played.
Yeah.
Did Crowther? I don't think Jake played. I don't think Crowther played in that game.
No.
I don't think.
Did he play in any of the tests? He didn't play in
I'm not sure he did, no.
I don't think he played in any of the tests.
Yeah, so your options would have, I guess, really been Sam, Gerps, Jake, Jimmy.
Yeah. Because
you wouldn't get, I think you had a couple of Davidsons and you wouldn't give it to a Davidson.
No, of course.
So.
It was one of those, where he was, he's like someone that I've known since high school. And, and obviously I put my trust in him, and also I do think he has got a cricketing brain.
Oh, he does, yeah. I mean, obviously I don't know Jimmy as well as you, but I've known him a while in club cricket, and he has got a sharp mind.
Yeah.
And the good thing about Jimmy as well, you see it in his bowling with the type of bowler he is. You know Jimmy will play for the team.
Yes.
He's not the kind of, it's all about me, I'm going to be the star captain, I'm going to take all the wickets, it's all about me kind of thing. He will put the team first.
Yeah, 100%.
So it is, and I think he did well. Obviously you weren't at the game and didn't see it, and again we won and ended up winning 3-0 in the series, but
rub it in.
He just grinded it. But he did as well as you could expect of him. Yeah. I think he did well, and he didn't look out of his depth doing it.
I know it was quite close in the first innings. It was,
it was another one of them.
They bowled you out for like under 100, I think it was, or was it 100?
It was, I think, 98.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to remember who got any runs. I think Ricky might have got 30 odd. And then we bowled you guys out for roughly the same. I don't think it was a big lead.
Oh, okay.
I think it was a lead of about 10.
Oh, right, yeah.
And then it turned in the third innings. It was a really low scoring game.
Yeah.
And
it's
it turned.
The third innings with us, isn't
it was last year when you were on Dan's team as well, all of the games. Yeah, it was.
It's always the third or the fourth.
But I guess that's part of when we said earlier about the captaincy and like getting used to winning and pressure moments, that also filters through the team. I've got a lot of players in my team who are on winning teams.
Yeah.
And the third innings is such a mover.
Yes.
Because you play the first two innings and the third innings almost decides the game.
Yeah.
And my team knows how to deliver. Batsmen know to get the important runs, bowlers take the wickets. So I think that comes with experience as well. My team just had more experience of winning. Yeah. When we did the selection, I think I probably had more players that had been on winning teams.
Right, yeah.
I think.
Because
like Rob and Ricky have always been on my team.
Yeah.
So,
And I took a couple risks with, someone like Charon and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because I think it's good to take risks sometimes. Sometimes they pay off, sometimes
100%. And I do think actually Charon is a player we should talk about. So obviously that game, there was issues with the venue. We couldn't film it.
Yeah.
So that game will not go to air and the people at home will not know who we're talking about. But Charon Chintakunta, to start with, just tell us how you know him and how he got into the game and how he played this game. Just sort of give everyone a background.
Yeah, so basically how I know him is, do you know what, it's funny. So I went to a net session with him once with I think it was Woodside. He came to one of our net sessions and he was like smashing them all over the place, like batting and bowling. He had some decent pace as well.
Yeah, I've heard about this net session because I wasn't actually there, but I think Ricky Borrett was there, and I think a couple of others, and they came back afterwards saying this guy is dynamite.
Yeah,
he was like smacking it everywhere, really, really quick.
Yeah. So I saw that and I was like, yeah, do you know what? I need to get him in my team. Obviously, backyard cricket is so much different to normal cricket, and there's so many different skill sets. But I was like, we need to try and get him in my team because he might not do well in the first test, but I feel like
this is the thing. I think we got off the hook. The fact that he only played in the last game.
Yeah.
If he'd had a full series, because obviously you weren't there for the last test, he played in it.
Yeah.
And he got a few runs. I think he got a 30 odd and a 20 odd. but look good. Which 30 and 20 when you've never played before, it's a decent start.
Decent, yeah.
And with the ball, you could tell he was rapid.
Yeah.
Like, I think he's quicker than Rob, quicker than Alvin. He looked sharp, but the problem is he couldn't land anything in the batsman's half of the pitch. Every ball was short, so all you had to do was just get underneath it, and it was going over your shoulder.
Yeah.
So that's where he struggled, but that was his first test. If that had been the first test, he would have got that out of his system by the second and third, and he could have been a massive player in the second and third games if he played all the way through. I think we were off the hook with him, and I think if he plays again next year, we'll make sure we get him in for a game that's on camera, because people at home need to see what he's capable of when he adapts to it.
Yeah.
Because he looked a serious player, didn't he?
He is. Yeah, he's a great player.
Have you ever actually seen him play in club cricket? Have you played with him at all?
No, I've never played.
So it was just in the net.
Just in the nets, yeah.
But I did hear about that net session. He ruffled a few feathers.
Yeah,
didn't he? I think he frightened a few people.
Yeah.
And in the end, in that game, in that third test, it came down to really Rob Maguire. I think again got wickets. Which you kind of expect. I think Ricky Borrett got a few wickets as well. Dan Mears, actually, I do have to mention Dan Mears here. In club cricket, Dan Mears is an out-and-out all-rounder.
Yeah.
He's made a couple of centuries in club cricket, taken more than 200 wickets for our team.
Yeah.
In backyard cricket, I've always seen him more as a bowler who can bat a little bit. But he batted really well in the third test, and I don't know if anyone's told you this because you weren't there. He was tracking all the fast bowlers. He was walking down the pitch to Jimmy Maguire and swinging at him. Not always successfully. He missed a few, but he connected with a few as well. He came down the pitch to Charon, and when we say Charon is quicker than Rob and Alvin, Charon was rapid, and he's bowling every ball at everyone's head.
Yeah.
Dan Mears has walked down the pitch at him, and it was the one length ball that Charon bowled all day.
Yeah.
And Dan Mears has smoked him straight back past him for 4, and it was one of the best shots of the series. And this is a guy who I thought was more of a bowler who could bat a bit, and he just bang down the track. And then I think he got out next ball. But Dan got runs in that game. I was really impressed with him. I think he got a 30 odd opening the bag, I think.
He was like, there you go, have that.
He did it, absolutely lamped him. And, you know, as fast as Charon's bowling, if you middle it, it's going back faster.
Oh, 100%.
He just whacked this thing. A great bit of fun it was, Dan. And he started tracking other people and getting nowhere near it.
Got a bit of confidence from Charon. He's like, oh yeah.
Yeah, but obviously, I mean, it's weird because Dan's not the kind of player, I've never seen him do that before.
No,
Dan's quite a conventional player, isn't he? You've never
Yeah.
seen him ever track anyone. I've never seen him track spinners really before.
No, that is surprising.
He's added that. And he batted well in the one-day series.
Yes, he did. Yes,
Which obviously
he
we're not
did.
going to go into the one-day series because that footage has not been aired yet,
Yeah.
so we won't go into that too much. But we will say keep an eye out for Dan Mears' batting in that. He does very well.
Yeah.
So sum up the test series for me then. 3-0 is obviously not the result you wanted, and it sounds like a battering.
Yeah.
But it wasn't really. It was just experience and key players stepping up at big moments was the only real difference between the teams. When we say like Rob Maguire's bowling in that third innings, and Ricky Borrett and Danish's partnership in the first test that turned it, it's not as one-sided as it looks. And there were real signs that 1 or 2 players next year, we should have a lot more. If the availability is better, next year could be the best series we've had yet.
I wouldn't disagree on that.
Could you imagine a situation where we get 2 teams on the park and it's, say for example, you, Rob, Ricky, Dan versus Eunan, Alvin, Bevan, James Ramsey? These kind of Callum Letts, you've got Elliot Fox to come back, Jake Butler, James Maguire, Vamsey. You could have a series, couldn't you? With everybody fit and loaded, we could have a series and a half.
That'd be great.
And I guess this is the time to ask, you will be captaining next year? Has there been discussions about that? Will you be keeping the role? Is it something you want to keep?
It is something I want to keep,
Yeah.
It's something I want to do.
So no mutiny within the team yet, or nobody trying to overthrow you?
I don't think so. Not that I'm aware of, anyway. Not that,
I've heard rumours.
Oh, have you? We'll put it to a vote then.
Jimmy Maguire says he wants your job. He's got the taste for it.
Oh, there you go. Okay. Well, we'll put it to a vote.
I think it will be yours again, and who knows? Maybe we can sit here next year and again commiserate you on being a distant second, as we do this year.
I'm coming. I can't wait.
If we send this out on air and then I get beaten in next year's series, this clip is going to follow me around and around and around.
It's going viral. Watch this space. It's coming.
Yeah, just be clear, everybody at home, if I do go on to lose next year's series, this video will be taken down. This won't be available for long on YouTube. No, but it has been fun, and thank you for joining us to talk about this series. I hope you've obviously all enjoyed it at home. Hope you've enjoyed sitting and chatting with me.
Yes, I did. I just had one question
Sure.
for you, though. So, 2-0 down now. You bagged the series. What is it like? It's another win. I know you said it was quite close. Is it like how are you feeling?
Going into the third test?
Yeah, obviously. Yeah. What were your ideas? Obviously, you can't lose now. So were you thinking of like maybe changing selection up for a bit, like maybe try and get other people in who haven't already played?
At that point, no. Ordinarily, yes, we'd be looking to mix up the selection, but again, the availability.
Yeah.
The way it was, you just get who's available, and again, we didn't have a full team, we had to get ringers in, as your team did for that game. So the selection, there's nothing you can do. The attitude to the game was still to win it. Okay. Obviously, you take it a bit lighter in your own heads, but the atmosphere around the team, I don't want to ever give my team the message that we can take it easy if we don't win.
Right.
Because you can get into bad habits. If I said to the team before that game, I'll just take it easy, doesn't matter, and then we lose, and it's 2-1, that can roll into the one-day series, that attitude, it can roll into the series next year. It has to be a constant message of win. Because it just, and again, it just keeps that momentum going. All the people that played in that third test and won it will be coming into next year's series off wins and a 3-0 win and feeling good again. It just rolls, the momentum goes. Yeah. And it's so easy to lose. When we do, and I'm not going to be unbeaten forever, it's a bit of a fluke that it's been 3 years, really. But we will lose a game. My team will lose. And when that comes, you never know what can happen. You might lose a couple. Yeah. And then suddenly it's a struggle to try and find a win again. So while you're ahead of the game and while you're on top of the ball, you keep your foot on the throat. Yeah. So the attitude was still to win that game. But the atmosphere around it was a lot more like there was less sort of noise in the field, less aggression from both teams as well. It was played out in a lot more friendly atmosphere. It was played like a friendly. Yeah. But still with the intent of winning, and I was still happy when we won. Yeah. Because it just sets good habits, doesn't it? There's never a good time to lose, no matter what the situation. So it was still a case of just get the job done, and we did. And I would have been annoyed if we lost. That's worse for me almost. If I'm going to lose, I'd rather lose when the series is live than lose when it doesn't matter, because that's, I think, careless. Yeah. If you're 2-0 up and you're dominating, the captain and the top run scorer for your team is not playing, which was you, that's an opportunity. It's a waste if you don't win it, and you shouldn't throw wins away or take them for granted, because there will come through a spell where wins are hard to come by. So it happens to everybody. You go through ups and downs. So while we're doing well at the minute, and while we're playing well at the minute, keep it going. No let up, no let up, no let up. This is the way we were looking at it.
It's a good attitude to have, actually.
I think it's the right way to go. It's the attitude. I try and do these as if we were a club side playing every week on a Saturday in the league. Yeah. That's the way I try and approach it. And I wouldn't want my team to go into any Saturday team with a club side thinking they can take it easy and get beaten. It doesn't matter.
I mean, we've got a big winter ahead of us, so
yes.
We've got a big winter ahead of us.
We certainly do. And again, if we lose that test and throw away that test, those players who are coming to Australia for the Ashes, it's a bad note to finish on, and a bad habit to get in. Yeah. So that will conclude our wrap up of the series, and a big thank you again to Yosuaf Sharif.
Thank you for having me.
It has been fun, and I hope you've all enjoyed sort of watching us kick back and talk about the series, and maybe give you a bit of an insight of what it's like to actually be on the field rather than sort of just seeing it through the lens of a camera. In the meantime, we will be back throughout the summer with the one-day series. There is a one-day series which we won't spoil the result, but that has already been played. The footage will be coming up as soon as we can get it up there. Please also do join us. There will be a new series of podcasts. The BCE podcast will be a new thing starting this summer, and one of our guests on it will of course be the great Yosuaf Sharif, among others. But in the meantime, all that's left to say is thank you very, very much for joining us. Big thank you for Yosuaf Sharif, and we will see you again next time on Backyard Cricket England.